Hello, and welcome to the Hello You Show, where we talk about big dreams and taking real action. Through transformative stories, a bit of neuroscience, and real conversations, this show is here to help you explore creating your next level life with authenticity and passion. I'm Jessica Rice, a design techie and former engineering leader turned vision evolution coach on a mission to help other women rise up and lead a life of purpose. So get cozy and say hello again to the real you. Welcome back to the Hello You Show. My name is Jessica Rice, and I am your host today. And I am so excited. We have an incredible guest joining us today, Laura Cooke, who is a senior change management and leadership development consultant who works to deliver customized solutions to her clients based on their unique culture and resources. Her services include leadership coaching, employee development, change management, and personal success. Laura is passionate about employee engagement and developing authentic leaders to encourage connection and results in the workplace. We are so excited to have you joining us today, Laura. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you. Appreciate it.
Oh, such a pleasure. And so I know that you live in this beautiful area, but would you mind sharing with us where you're calling in from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am located in the interior of British Columbia, Canada, just outside of Creek, and on the territory of the Secwepemc peoples. I'm a very grateful guest on this land.
I've seen a few of your pictures online, and they're just so gorgeous. I'm always in awe and slightly jealous, wanting to be more in the mountains. But yeah, thanks so much. So I know that we've met, kind of a few years ago, I believe, during a business workshop.
Yes.
I think it was amazing because at that time you were announcing that you were writing your book, Leave It All on the Dance Floor, which I have my copy right here.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, and in that process, really kind of working with you, I really got to witness just your amazing spirit, your love of helping others to succeed. And you have this really amazing quote on the back. It says, as women, we often give so much of ourselves to others that we let our lives and our dreams slip away. Would you mind sharing with us just a little bit of how you help women to just take hold of their deeper aspirations and dreams?
Yeah. Well, I think, my aim mainly was to inspire women not to give up on their dreams. And part of that journey was, often we write the book that we need to read. And so for me, I was at a kind of a crossroads looking to not give up on wanting to make a bigger impact in this world. And so that's how I came across you and the other women who were such gracious contributors to the book to lend their stories to help inspire women. So how I help women just by sharing my own journey. And, it's been a windy road. I think often we see successful people and think, wow, they're lucky, or what a, straight shot they had, but it can often be a long and windy road. And I just wanted to offer practices that women can use to explore their journey and really tap into what their needs and next steps are.
Well, it really is it's such a beautiful book and the way that you approached it. And I know you have quite this story that you share within the book. So would you just tell us a little bit, how did you find yourself even in writing the book?
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. I think that when we look at who we want to become, there's such a strong need to reconcile your past first. And so I had to dig deep into my past and, all the way back into childhood. And I think we need to do some healing there, and we need to kind of acknowledge our presence. Where are we now? what are the elements of our lives that are doing well, and what areas do we want to work on, and then how do we make a plan for moving forward. So as I was reflecting on that for myself, I kind of just shared some of the tools that I use for others to be able to do the same. So it's been quite healing for me, and I continue my journey as I move forward.
Mm. Well, I don't know if I told you this, but the title of your book, like totally resonated with me because I was also a dancer when I was growing up, ballet, cheerleading, all of those things. So it definitely resonated. And it was one of those dreams that I also like let go when I was in college. I think I danced through college and then just kind of let it go.
Mm,
So I love how you wove that into your story.
yeah.
A lot of people, they write books, but they don't always ask people to come along the journey, with them. So
Yeah.
really, what prompted you to ask? I mean, there were so many amazing women in the book. What prompted you to ask them to kind of be along this journey with you?
Mm. Well, I imagined that my story might resonate with some, but I wanted to tap into a more diverse tapestry of journeys that might inspire women who have stories that are not similar to mine. And so I wanted to offer all different kinds of stories of overcoming obstacles or barriers, or moving forward towards your dreams, to offer different ways to connect to the book rather than just sharing my story. And, the other thing it gave me was inspiration from learning from all of you, wonderful women, and also gave me purpose and that bigger why to push through and complete the book when things got tough or sticky. So, several reasons, but I'm so grateful that I was able to gather the stories of others.
Mm. Well, of course, I'm so appreciative of being a part of that journey with you. And I think it was incredible. And you continue to include us in different conversations, which is always so enriching and powerful. I think when we come together and just still hear like the stories of what women are doing now, even since the book.
Absolutely.
But and I also know, so there's this part of what you do. You wrote the book and you help others to kind of reach their dreams, but you also help in a multitude of other ways. And I think you were a certified trainer for the Dare to Lead program, which is based on Brene Brown's research. What, inspired you to align yourself even more with that work?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's such an important part of who I am and what I do. And if you know all about my journey, and if you don't, I'll share a little bit. So I've always been, since a child, felt like I was called to do something bigger or more. And yet, I've had some big attempts and big face down failures in trying to find what that thing was. And so when I first came across Brene Brown's work, it was the Theodore Roosevelt quote about we'll call it the person in the arena, which really called to me, because the essence of that quote is, it's not about the outcome, it's about the attempt. So we should celebrate those who are brave enough to step into courage despite the outcome. And that spoke to me so much. And so when I started doing leadership development work and employee engagement work, I was looking for programs because it was very clear to me that employee engagement and leadership went hand in hand. And so if we develop our leaders, our employees are naturally going to feel more committed and engaged in their workplace. So I started exploring programs, came across an earlier version of Dare to Lead, which was called Courage Works. It was an online program. And while I wasn't able to bring the work into my workplace at that time, I was on the newsletter. And so when they were looking for facilitators, I jumped right in there and was so grateful when I was accepted to be part of that program.
Mm. Well, it's just really amazing. And I think, Brene Brown's work is obviously amazing as well. She has a video that I often watch where she's talking about Maya Angelou's, I think, quote, where you belong to yourself. And
Mm.
I've always found that really helpful for me sometimes. I think, we all fall on our face and we all have to get back up. And it's, that reminder to ourselves that we have to continue to follow through on those deeper passions and our purpose.
Yeah, I believe that one's from Braving the Wilderness, which is my favorite of her books because it talks about the need to belong yet be able to stand on your own. And this that duality of we need one another, but we also need to be able to stand firm in who we are.
Mhm. I so agree. Well, and so I know that you help people with, there's courage and you also help with authenticity. And so I was curious, what do you feel like courageous authenticity means to you?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a big question, but I think at its core, it's standing in our values. It is saying the hard things rather than staying silent. It is being willing to, let our unique gifts shine through and our unique perspectives shine through. And that takes courage because there is always the chance of rejection, there's always the chance of disagreement or conflict. And so I think authenticity and courage go hand in hand in that to show who we really are is one of the most vulnerable and courageous acts because there's always the chance that we will fear that rejection.
Mhm. So true. I think that when we're pushing ourselves out there in leadership or anything that we're doing, there's always that piece of ourselves that has that fear, right? We're fear of rejection or fear of failure.
Mhm.
And it takes that courageous spirit. And I think authenticity, as you mentioned too, it's one of the things that I think we're continually finding even in ourselves is who were we really in any given moment and how we show up and what it is that we, kind of represent. So I think it's amazing that you provide that for leaders because so often leaders feel like they have to be a certain way. Do you
Mhm.
find that in the work that you have with teams and corporations that leaders feel like that they have to fit a certain mold in order to be a successful leader?
Yeah, I think there's definitely that perspective, and there's certainly cultures where being our authentic selves isn't celebrated or appreciated or even welcome. And often talk about how when we feel like who we are isn't matched in the organization that we're working in, you'll never feel greater discomfort. And so there's usually a few things you can do, which is find a way to incorporate who you are in small ways while honoring those constraints that you're kind of being kept within. Or, I mean, get the heck out of there because you're not honoring your gifts if you're constantly being stifled. And I know that's easier said than done, but that's where we really have to dig into courage. If and there's no easy answer to this. It's a spectrum.
Mm, mhm. I appreciate you sharing that too, because I think sometimes we get stuck in one way and we're trying to be something maybe that's not in alignment with our core values. Maybe we stay even a little bit too long in certain scenarios or situations that aren't allowing for us to blossom in the ways that we're intended to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to become complacent. We're creatures of habit. We're naturally driven to security and safety, and status quo feels safe. And yet, if we focus on rather than I've got to do this big thing or I've got to take this big risk, if we think about who do I want to be and what does ideal look like, if we can anchor to that, it's going to feel a little less scary, I think.
Mm. That's so beautiful. I think we can all learn from that and really anchoring ourselves back to who we are and what we can lean into in a greater way. So I know you provide, trainings and workshops. Can you tell us a little bit about, what working with you looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few different ways that I work with Individuals and organizations. So I do individual coaching. I also do tons of free challenges. Right now, we're in the middle of a Gifts of Imperfection challenge where we're looking at the 10 guideposts of wholehearted living. And I just do that in my LinkedIn group. So anyone's welcome to join. I also do usually monthly master classes, which are also complimentary, just to give a preview of some of the skill sets that we dive into. And then I do a little bit more in depth, the Dare to Lead program, which is a full 24-hour program. And that's where you get Dare to Lead trained certificate and LinkedIn badge. So beyond that, I also create a community for those Dare to Lead graduates to stay in connection and keep getting those learnings into our bones, because it's a real practice. It's not check, 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 I'm done. Okay, now I'm courageous. We have to keep practicing, myself included. So those are a few ways that I can work with you.
Well, I love that you said, so what did you call it? Embracing your imperfections?
The gifts of imperfection. Yeah.
Imperfections. Oh, I love that, because I think sometimes we do. We look at our own flaws and we think that they need to go away and we need to eradicate them like a weed from ourselves.
Right.
So how do you find that it's, that people can think about embracing their imperfections in a greater way?
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing is that is also a book by Brene, The Gifts of Imperfection. If you're going to start anywhere, that's a great way to get into her work. And it's based on the 10 guideposts of wholehearted living. So it's rooted in research. And what she does is play with tension. So letting go of perfectionism and cultivating more joy, letting go of this and cultivating more of that. And I can share with you a graphic that shows the 10 guideposts if you'd like to share it with your listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love to kind of put that into the show notes if we're able to, or if you said it, I think I can put it into the video. But I think that sounds awesome, because it's true. I've struggled with that, with trying to figure out, like, how do I embrace these ugly parts of myself sometimes, or the pieces when we're showing up in our leadership and we feel like we've stumbled or fell, and maybe it didn't land something that we were looking to push forward on. What do
Yeah.
you feel like is your favorite or the most, inspiring part in helping others to succeed? Are you
Well, for me, the most inspiring part is what I learn along the journey, because I think when we're in community, it's when we all grow. And that's from learning from each other's individual experience, perspective, lived lessons, and together our collective wisdom is so much greater than each of us alone. And so for me, the most inspiring thing is witnessing the connection, because it's in connection, and it just takes one vulnerable act for the rest to follow, and that's the beauty that usually unfolds when we gather together.
Mm. So I know that you kind of talk about your story a little bit in your book, and then you've kind of worked your way into helping people in this way. Was there a moment, though, that you kind of realized, like, this is the work that you want to be doing, or this was the calling for you?
My journey continues, and I'm one of those kind of Elizabeth Gilbert has this beautiful video about the flight of the hummingbird, and she said some people are born with a gift in them that they know that that's their thing, whether you're a writer, a singer, a artist, whatever, and that's in you, and then that's your thing. And then there's others who, we're multi-passionate, so we think, oh, over here is my thing, and oh wait, that's not it. What about over here? And we're kind of just gatherers, and we tend to go where we're being called in the moment. So it was that employee engagement work that I was doing that called me to the leadership development work, and that still lights me up. But I continue to seek, and I imagine it's not going to stop there. So I think I'm more of myself.
Mm. I love that analogy. That's amazing. I think it was years ago, I read Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, and I found that so inspiring. It was one of the things that I would drive to work and I would listen to Big Magic, and I think she had a podcast or something that was accompanying that at the time. And
Yes.
I remember finding myself at that moment thinking about what else do I want to be doing that could create, like align more with my passions and my purpose, outside of even just the role that I was in. So when you're helping people find, their own personal success, what are some of the things that you're, helping them to incorporate more in their lives?
Yeah, I think we need to each person is their own work of art, and I think we can't do a one size fits all. But one of the other works that has really kind of transformed my journey is the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So I'm also certified in that work. And I think there's 80 some principles, and we can't do them all. That's just going to overwhelm us. But it's like really looking at which of those do we need to pull upon to move the needle forward. And it's going to be different for each of us. And so it's not a quick and easy answer, but I think it's just looking at your unique journey, your struggles, your interests, your passions, and where are the barriers popping up? And then what are some tools we can start to use to remove those barriers?
Mm. That's another book that I typically have on my desk is the Success Principles. It's beat up and it looks like it's gone through some things, but such a fantastic book.
For sure.
So I know you said too that you have some events that are coming up for you
Yeah.
in the near future. Would you mind telling us a little bit?
Oh, so yeah. So Brene just recently announced a partnership with Better Up. And so we in the facilitator community are just waiting to hear what that means for the future of the Dare to Lead program. But what's wonderful is that we get to continue on with any work that we had planned for 2024. And I've got 2 workshops coming up. One is in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So if you want to come to Canada, you're more than welcome. That's September 20 to 22nd. It's a Friday to a Sunday. It's an intensive weekend session. And then I have an 8-week virtual starting on September 25th. And I'm happy to offer your listeners a promo code using Hello You for $200 off.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so generous and amazing. Thank you. Well, I definitely will put all of that into the notes so that folks can take advantage of that because that sounds like an incredible opportunity, incredible moment to really expand more into what it is that feels in alignment for your lives. And like you said earlier, I think it's this constant exploration into ourselves. I don't think we're ever fully done. Um, at least for me, I know as soon as I think I found some part of myself, there's still something more to uncover.
Yes.
Sometimes worse.
Yes, it's a continued unfolding, right?
It is. It's a complete exploration and journey into ourselves on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So, what are the best ways for people, to get in contact with you and reach out?
Yeah, so I think we'll just offer my lauracookeconsulting.com, Cook with an E. You can join our Legacy Leadership Academy on LinkedIn where we're doing that free 10-day challenge. Other than that, yeah, I think those are the best ways to reach out to me.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely put all of that into the show notes. There's going to be a lot in there, so make sure you read through all of it. And then, I wanted to ask, like, what would be a message that you would have to share with those, maybe they're on the fence and pursuing a greater calling for themselves? What would be a message that you have?
Yeah. I think it was Jack Canfield that said you wouldn't have the dream within you if you also didn't have the power to achieve it. And so I would say if it's in you, it's there for a reason. You're meant to bring it to life and you can do it. You're going to be met with some obstacles and setbacks, but you just need to find those people who call to you who can help you get through those. But don't give up. It's never too late. I mean, I've read about women in their 80s who have run ultra marathons. So if they can do that, we can do our dreams too.
Such a good message and so true, right? There's people out there doing things all the time. And, oftentimes I think we do. It's like we give up on our childhood dreams and we don't start to explore what our adult dreams are and what it is that those even can morph into. And it's a constant evolution of ourselves that we're looking into.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, perfect example that you've shared. Well, I've greatly enjoyed having you here sharing with us. You're always so full of insights and wisdom and incredible examples of courageous authenticity.
Oh, thank you. And I always appreciate you and your warmth and energy and everything you bring to the work that you do. I can't appreciate you more for sharing your story with me and also for inviting me here today. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you listening today, thank you so much. Please take a moment to check out Laura's information. She is a wealth of wisdom and has some amazing offers that she has provided so generously to the community. And make sure you stay tuned for next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Hello You Show. It's been a pleasure to have you with us on this journey today. If you found value in our conversation and want to support the show, please take a moment to like, follow, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd also deeply appreciate it if you could leave us a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also enables others seeking inspiration and authenticity to discover our community. Until next time, keep embracing your story with purpose.